So now the purpose behind this, and this is the last part of the series, but these principles have survived thousands of years, and I've directly connected them to my daily life, but also to the trading and investing journey. And this one I love: begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. How does this relate to us as traders? Now, for me, I look at this perspective, and it gives me kind of this temporary memory approach where you remember not so much that you even made a mistake or did something wrong, but the fact that you actually lived, that you actually traded, that you actually invested, that you went through your process. And it is a separate day. So, even if you lose, even if you win, regardless of the outcomes, you don't want to carry those emotions. You don't want to carry those feelings into the next trade, the next investment, the next moment, especially if you feel like things didn't go the way that you planned. And so I don't think it's about forgetting the things that you did wrong, but so much more realizing that if you're doing this right, the outcomes of one trade shouldn't be, catastrophic. It shouldn't be fatal. So take action. Do what you need to do. Do it right with great energy and great attitude. But it's the fact that the next time we approach this again, we don't want to have those lingering moments. We don't want to bring that into the next. So it's a fresh start. And of course, obviously we learn from it. You have the experience, but you don't carry over any energy. You want to keep it neutral. Even if you won, even if yesterday was like an amazing winner. For example, Friday, right? Friday we sold the Euro USD. We had an amazing, great risk reward. Does that mean that we're going to take now, Friday's win, and we don't want to count that for today either? Yesterday's home runs don't win today's game. So we want to get back to that neutral state and just do what the overall system kind of gives us. So just something to keep in mind here. And also, I think this really connects to your same thing with identity. At any moment, you can kind of choose to become whatever version that you imagine of yourself. And so even if yesterday you weren't your best self, you weren't as productive, or you didn't execute the way you wanted to, maybe you just didn't have the right attitude, you don't have to live in that same energy. You don't have to live with that same kind of belief about yourself or the world. You can absolutely construct instantly a brand new way of outlook, and not just on the world, but on yourself. So I love this quote, and I think having this will definitely give better insight for traders and investors alike. And same thing, I mean, you guys can let me know. You can drop a comment to see how these connect with you. Maybe you don't give yourself the grace of a losing trading day, even maybe a losing trading week. So let's say last week wasn't your best. Okay, all right, separate day, separate life. Or let's say you've been doing this for a bit and things you just haven't got the results you wanted. All right, cool. That's what it was. Doesn't mean that's what it is. So let's move on. Let's live a separate life starting today. All right. So from here, let's go into our next quote from Seneca. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. I love this one. This one, we can connect this through a few different mediums. The first one, we'll connect it to, I think, the more transparent one, which is just greed in terms of wants. It's like, oh, we just want, we desire so much. And I don't think having high standards is the perspective here. I think it's a matter of gratitude, and then also having this scarcity mindset, or this feeling of not being ever really truly satisfied. So it comes down to, what is it that we truly are striving for? That's at least what I think about. Okay, what's it all for? As a trader, as an investor, why are we pursuing more money, more, bigger accounts, and at what cost? So how you view yourself, am I poor? Is it because you don't have enough? Is it because you don't have any? Because that's the difference, right? Is it that I just have so little, or is it I just don't have enough? How do you define enough for yourself? Is it through money? Is it through, how you get to create your life? Is it through the time that you spend with your family? Is it through how you get to explore the world? So kind of defining that, I think, is really important. And same thing, if you are building a life to be a trader, does that mean, I need to be a millionaire, or I need to make $100K a year? Is that really what the ultimate goal is? Or could you be making, I don't know, $25K a year trading in USD, but you're living in a part of the world where you can live on, $15,000 a year, $20,000 a year, and live well? Like, that just covers and checks everything that it is that you want. So what is it? What do we really want? And have we created and defined that for ourselves? So this is one perspective that you can look at this, and this is just the overall vision. What is enough? Have we truly defined that for ourselves? And the other way I think we can look at this as well is not so much on the overall big lifestyle perspective, but the greed that comes to the day-to-day trades. Sometimes, especially when you're around, let's say, other traders that are earning, or other investors that are at a higher net worth, or just have higher incomes, what you're making, maybe you made $100 today trading, but someone else made 1,000. Like, I'm not really doing enough, or is it even worth it? So the greed, comparison, this feeling that we're just not maybe even growing at a fast enough pace, we look at it as so little, and then, oh man, I can't wait until I'm this. I hear this all the time. It's, I can't wait until I'm here, and I'm here, and I'm here, and I'm here. And a part of that is good, because I think it does push you to strive for greatness, to strive for better, and to not have limiting beliefs. But part of it as well is, are we accepting and grateful for the progress that we've already made? Because there was a point in time where every trader is losing. There's a point in a time when a trader is highly inconsistent, or a trader is impulsive, or a trader is break even most of the time, fighting between losses and break evens. Maybe there's seasons where you're starting to see some profitability, and then some weeks are not so much, and some weeks are break even, and then obviously you end up to a point where, okay, now you are in a profitable path, but it's just not as much as you would like, and then eventually, it just scales up. So, but if you can't really accept or just be aware that the $10 a day, maybe it's not what you ultimately want, but if it's too little for you and you keep craving more, at what cost? Because this is where we introduce over leveraging positions. This is where we introduce over trading. This is where we introduce just entering and creating risk that never needed to be there. It didn't even follow your trading system anyways. So I think we can connect this to the day-to-day trades and the way we approach risk and why we're introducing risk to our trades, and also in the big picture, where are we going with this and who are we doing it for? Because your goals and what just works for you might be completely different than someone else. All right, I have friends that they're on the Bali, Thailand lifestyle. They really only need a couple grand a month and they're living their best life. They don't even have to be millionaires. They don't even have to be six-figure earners, but they're literally living their best lives that they want for themselves. And I have other people that they want other types of lifestyles. They want certain things. They have certain goals with their families. They have, certain expenses that need to be covered because of the way they design their life. And yes, they need to be clearing, six figures, multiple six figures, maybe millions. But at the end of the day, you just have to intentionally define what that is for you. Because then you're not craving more just for the sake of it. It's very intentional. So something for you guys to consider. And I would love to hear, what is that for you? What is the goal for you? Is it a place? Is it a feeling? Is it an expression? Is it a number on, okay, I made it? So something I would love you guys to drop a comment below. Would love to know. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. This one has been, I think this one a lot of you have heard, you've seen, you've read. And for most of my life, I didn't know this was from Seneca, but I love this one. My perspective on luck has evolved over the years, and I do think there's a skill to luck, actually. So, and it's this is like the best way to put it. It's when preparation meets opportunity. I believe you can position yourself so that there's just a higher probability that good things can happen to you. You don't know for sure, but there's a good probability that something good could happen. But you have to learn how to put yourself in those positions. And I think that really comes into play with trading too, and investing. Like, nothing is ever for sure. We're constantly dancing with uncertainty as traders. But that's what it is. To me, it's a dance, and you learn kind of the rhythm of it. And I think that when you have enough experience, you learn how to put yourself in the right place so that every once in a while you have outsized returns because you learned how to put yourself, not always, but it seems like, wow, like he got super lucky. She got so lucky with that trader, with that investment. But was it really luck, or was it experience that happened to play out at a bigger scale with a bigger reward this time? So for example, we talked about this with investing or with trades. There's moments when the market has been squeezing for days, weeks, and to most it may look like, oh, we got into something and the market just popped off and we got super lucky. Or was it that we were prepared and we met an opportunity, and to what others it looked like luck and it looked like, oh, we caught this huge move. Nice, lucky for you. But in reality, we just knew that we had better chances of seeing outsized growth in this specific place. If I put myself right here, same thing goes with sports. Same thing, like for example, we'll talk about soccer, right? Football. If you have gained this experience of putting yourself in the box under certain circumstances, the ball is gonna fall onto your feet at some point in time. You learn how to put yourself in position so the ball luckily will fall onto your feet and you can score. Oh, how lucky. Was it though? Or was it that this person knew that, hey, these things can happen every once in a while, and if I'm here, then I might just get my opportunity. So as traders, we understand that the risk to reward concept. We know that there's certain situations, and they don't happen all the time, but you can have an amazing risk reward, and the probabilities are even better because there's just a certain environment for that to happen. There's an environment that you put yourself in so that very good things can happen. So something to keep in mind. He who fears death will never do anything worth of a man who is alive. He who fears death will never do anything worth of a man who is alive. This one we can apply to the fear of losing. The fear of loss will always stop you from taking the predetermined, calculated risks that you have to approach with this. So a lot of times, and I'm sure many of you have had this moment where you just don't want to get into the market. I'm gonna stay out of this one. But it's not because it's not a good opportunity. Sometimes it's because you don't want to experience that feeling of being wrong, of losing. And how do you eliminate that feeling? Like here, there is no risk, no reward. It's plain and simple. Doesn't mean you have to risk it all. No, right? It's not that either. But if we don't, then can't really do what we need to do here. And that's why we create a system to know when it's worth it. That's why we build, the entry strategies that you're taking, because you have the data, right? You have enough evidence so that it takes away the fear. You might not win every time. You might not even win half the time. But okay, I don't need to fear inaction. I don't need to fear doing something because I actually have evidence behind the fact that this will work out, right? I have enough experience so that over time, right, this can go in my favor. And this doesn't even apply to just actually taking trades, but even learning something, doing something new. I was just actually having a conversation right before this. We were at like this pumpkin fest. It's like an amusement park situation thing for this season, right? Pumpkins and hay rides and petting and all that good stuff, right? And so, but I was in line, and this lady starts talking to me. She's trying to sell me some juice or something, and she asked me about what I do, blah blah blah, and she's like, do you think I can do something? Do you think I can do something like that? I was like, well, yeah. I mean, anybody can do anything, in my opinion. She's like, I just don't know. Like, it just seems scary. Like, what if I lose money? I'm like, well, yeah. That's why that's how you educate yourself. Just like anything you've ever learned, there's a point where you knew nothing, and then you learn more and you gain more confidence, and you can do it. And so she's like, yeah, I don't know, I don't think that's just for me, but maybe my husband could do something like that. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, if that's what you want, here's my info, whatever. So, but it was fear, right? The fear stopped her from even trying it, even learning, like not even putting money on the line. I told her about demo accounts. Like, yeah, you can practice. You never have to even fear. Like, you don't even have to risk $1 to just at least get into the groove thing. She's like, I don't know. Like, what if it doesn't work out? And I'm like, well, it's 100% not going to work out for you if you're never going to try anything, right? So I think in just how we approach new situations, moments that we just are inexperienced in, it's the same concept. Like, you can't get anything out of it if that's where you're living in. So something to consider, guys, in regards to just how you're taking action, how you're approaching situations, and just from a learning perspective as well. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This one, I feel like if you can put this into your memory and kind of just remind yourself of this one more often, I really think this one unlocks quite a bit. What stands in the way becomes the way, right? The obstacle is the way. I love this one. because that's just how you grow, really. The challenge is it. I think I mentioned this probably this month, but I remember being in an Uber, and the guy I was talking to, he's like, there's no problems, he's like, there's no problems. There's challenges, but challenges you get over. You learn how to get past it, but there's always a way with the challenge. The problem, it's the focus is in the right place. And so the same approach here. The impediment to the action advances the action. So when you find yourself as a trader maybe in a losing streak, or there's something you're struggling with, maybe it's exits, maybe it's entries, maybe it's just your stop loss, maybe you're impulsive, right? You're over leveraging too often. So that in itself is what's going to help you to get better. You're going to progress because of that hurdle. So the moment you can confront your recklessness and you go, okay, hold on, why am I over leveraging so much? Like, why is it that every time I lose a trade or two here, I just start to kind of lose my cool, and I just start throwing lot sizes at this. I just start taking trades like crazy. What's really happening here? And so digging in and I think diving into the impediment, right? The hurdle, the obstacle. The more you lean into that and you dig into that, not in a judgmental way, but in a mindset where you're looking for a solution. You're not looking for the problem, you're looking for the solution to the challenge. You start to explore a lot about your behaviors or your perspective overall. And so that's the way you do it. You have to confront it. And this is also, for those of you that meditate, sometimes we get these thoughts or feelings that we don't necessarily like. And then in a meditation, you're like, oh, no, I can't think about that. I got to think about the good stuff. I got to focus. But in reality, that is the way. Like that, the obstacle is the way. Because once you can create clarity around why your mind goes there, and you can figure out what you need to accomplish or let go of in order for that to no longer be in your frame of mind, it doesn't show up as often, then all of a sudden, because you've addressed it, it doesn't take up any of your mental bandwidth anymore. So as traders and investors, if you're investing as well and maybe you're finding yourself getting in at the wrong times, okay, cool, now let me focus on my entries, or let me learn how to do better research. Maybe I need to learn technical analysis so that I'm just positioning myself at better times, etc. Maybe I got to learn about the macroeconomics because I'm missing something. So Marcus Aurelius, great quote. And I'll leave you guys with one more. Receive without conceit, release without struggle. So there could be moments in your trading career where you win and you didn't know how to act, really. Like maybe it's something that has been very rare in your journey so far, so you almost didn't even believe it, or you started to tell yourself, oh no, I'm just lucky. But I think it's about accepting, because knowing like, oh yeah, actually I deserve this, I did the right work, I deserve to make this. And on the other side, right, on the other side of the coin, it's release without struggle, which is to let go. And it doesn't have to be painful. If you lose, if you make a mistake, there doesn't need to be this emotional connection to it. It doesn't have to be like that. Like the markets, I can guarantee you the markets will give you losses and it'll give you wins. For sure losses. So when you lose, we can be detached emotionally from that because we're aware that these losses are part of the package, right? It's part of the system. In your trading system, you're going to have wins, losses, break evens, small wins, small losses. That's just how it's going to go down no matter what. So being able to accept the wins in a gracious way, being able to take wins and also not letting that get your ego or your pride, right, too excited, and then losing without having your ego or your pride in pain, you keep yourself at this neutral level, and it allows you to just keep doing what needs to be done. So that's why we say all the time, the trading journey is really a reflection of ourselves, right? It's a mirror. It just puts up a mirror. So your outcomes over time really have a lot to do with how you are emotionally regulating yourself. And also, just I think the key element is the perception. Perception is such a massive and important tool, and whether you're winning or losing, you use your lens. You can transform the lens that you have in a way where it still serves you. Sometimes it's not going to be like financially serving you, but in a way where you can always take away something, whether it is you are taking profits away or you're taking experience away from the situation, knowing how not or how to do something as you move forward here in your trading journey. So guys, this was a month's worth of Stoic principles, connecting them to the trading journey, the investor's journey. I think we went around, and I think we did maybe just about 20 different quotes, give or take, and connected those to our journeys. What I would love to know now from all of you is there one in particular? So drop a comment here if there's one in particular that just really hit different, one that you're like, you know what, I don't think I'm looking at my journey with this perspective, or I just need to use this a bit more, because if I just remember this perspective more often, then I'll struggle less often, or I'll be less hard on myself, or the other way around. Hey, as long as I use these perspectives, then I'll actually be more accountable, or I'll have my standards at the right place, because I'm not just giving myself an excuse or a scapegoat through the process. Choose one of these. Choose something that really related to you, and document how you did something differently than you normally would because of a perspective like this.